Tonight on NewsLink Indiana, Muncie Community Schools' possible takeover is not the first of its kind. Tonight we'll compare how this proposal compares to one seen in Massachusetts almost 30 years ago.
And President Trump delivers his first State of the Union address tonight. We'll have live updates from Capitol Hill.
And we saw temperatures drop down below average yet again. How long are these cooler temperatures going to stick around? I'll let you know tonight on weather.
From Ball State Unified Media, this is NewsLink Indiana.
Good evening and welcome to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Alex Kilmer.
And I'm Sarah Lehman. Thanks for joining us. As the House bill that would allow Ball State University to run Muncie Community Schools is being reviewed by the Indiana House of Representatives, a question still remains. Has something like this ever happened before?
NewsLink Indiana's Tony Sandlaben joins us now with an answer to that question. Good evening, Tony.
Well, Alex, Sarah, good evening. Good evening, everyone. It was the late 1980s that a small city near Boston had financial trouble, an FBI investigation into its city government, and a struggling school district. A 20-year partnership was then established to help fix the latter.
If I were a member of an elected school board today, I'd be asking myself, what's my status? If somehow we get into trouble, are we going to have the Indiana General Assembly take over our district? I'd be bothered about that.
That was Representative Edward Delaney talking about a recent amendment to House Bill 1315 that allows Ball State to govern Muncie schools. This kind of college K-12 relationship has happened before. In 1989, Boston University, a private school, and Chelsea Public Schools signed a contract allowing BU to manage the school district.
The school committee invited us to come in, and there was state legislation giving the school committee the authority to bring us in. And we concluded an agreement where we did accept the responsibility to run the schools on a day-to-day basis.
Doug Sears helped oversee Boston University's school management team, and at one point was appointed superintendent of the district. The partnership lasted until 2008, just about 20 years. A big difference between what happened with Chelsea and what Ball State has planned for Muncie? The current school board. Boston University kept Chelsea's publicly elected school board intact. Muncie's would be dissolved in favor of one appointed by Ball State, something current MCS board president Debbie Fike is prepared for.
If our presence would inhibit positive outcomes, we'll resign.
Ball State President Jeff Mern sees this as an opportunity to enhance what is already being done in Muncie schools' classrooms.
The teachers in the Muncie schools are doing an excellent job. We want to support their efforts and enhance their efforts, not only in the classroom, but in that other time as well. So I think that's the way in which this can be more comprehensive as well as innovative and creative.
Doug Sears said the university added advanced placement testing, a new music program, and built new school buildings all in Chelsea. So guys, a little bit of a difference, but certainly some goals I think that Ball State can put in place for Muncie.
Now, Tony, I know that Muncie Schools was kind of surprised about this. Was there any dialogue between Boston University and Chelsea before they made this announcement?
Yes. In the words of Doug Sears, tons of dialogue. In fact, he said there was so much back and forth that if he were to go back and do it again, he actually would encourage less people from Boston University to provide their input because he felt like they really swarmed the district when they first started planning this deal. So certainly a different story than what we're seeing in Muncie right now.
Thank you very much, Tony. We'll be sure to be giving you updates as that story develops. That bill is currently under review in the Indiana House. A Muncie man who disappeared in 1980 and whose remains were found nearly 20 years ago has been identified. And DNA test results determined remains found in southern Indiana in 1999 are those of Freddie Tommy Fawcett Jr. Fawcett disappeared when he was 25 and his Chevy Suburban was later found in Owen County. Muncie Police Chief Joe Winkle says Fawcett's death is not being investigated as a homicide, and there is no sign of foul play.
And the man convicted in connection with a deadly Indianapolis house explosion in 2012 died of natural causes today. 48-year-old Mark Leonard was transferred from the Wabash Valley Correction Facility to an Indianapolis hospital where he later died. Leonard was serving a life term without parole for his role in the natural gas explosion that destroyed his then-girlfriend's home in an Indianapolis subdivision. The explosion caused $4 million in damage and killed 2 people. Leonard's autopsy is scheduled for Wednesday.
Indiana may be on its way to improving the health of young adults. NewsLink Indiana's Zoe Dwiggins has the story.
Indiana is looking to change smoking laws within the state. The Public Health Committee met Monday and voted unanimously in favor of Bill 1380. This bill, authored by Democratic Representative Charlie Brown, would raise the legal smoking age from 18 to 21. This change would also include the possession and purchase of e-cigarette and vapor products. Some Ball State students are very positive about this possible change.
I think it's a positive thing. I mean, raising it to 21, I guess it gives millennials like myself a little bit longer to live, because people who do smoke, I mean, obviously there's science research that it's bad for you, but so, I mean, if you raise it to 21, people, I mean, there's still a chance they could get it, but it might lessen that, so.
However, some are not certain it will change many people's behavior.
I honestly, it doesn't really matter because kids, I guess not kids anymore, 18 to 21-year-olds, they'll be able to get a hold of it through people if they really want it, and you're just, prolonging something that can be bound to happen, so I honestly don't think it really matters.
The bill will now be moving to the full Indiana House for a vote. In Muncie, Zoe DeWiggins, NewsLink, Indiana.
This bill also initially raised cigarette taxes, but the committee amended the tax increase out.
And the United States is seeing widespread flu activity across the entire country. Mary Eber is live in the newsroom with what you need to know about this year's flu season. Mary?
This flu season, we're seeing the highest level of activity since the swine flu in 2009. There's been nearly 10 times as many deaths in Indiana compared to last year's flu season. The Indiana State Health Department's weekly influenza report Friday said the number of flu-related deaths this season is at 107. 83 of the deaths were 65 and older. Geography professor at Ball State, Christopher Ayres, took precautions yet came down with the flu the Friday before Martin Luther King Jr. Day. He had to cancel his Wednesday classes but says he's still suffering from the flu 2 weeks later.
I consider myself a relatively healthy person, and I, in fact, rarely get an annual cold, as most people do. But I've been getting flu shots every November for the last 6 or 7 years.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention still recommends getting a flu shot. A misleading statistic making its way around social media claims this year's flu vaccine is only 10% effective. This statistic actually came from Australia's flu season. In the U.S., the flu vaccine provides about 30% protection against H3N2, according to the CDC. Different parts of the country are usually affected by the flu at different times, but the CDC says over the past 3 weeks, the entire country has been experiencing lots of flu at the same time. Flu activity commonly peaks between December and February, but can occur as late as May. Live in the newsroom, I'm Mary Eber, NewsLink, Indiana.
Thank you very much, Mary. And as we've been having a unpredictable flu season, there's been a lot of unpredictable winter weather as well.
You're so right, Alex. I never know when I'm walking out the door whether to grab my winter coat or a light jacket or a rain jacket even.
Maybe our friend Ballant can help us out. Ballant, what do you have for some weather?
Hey, good evening, Alex Answer. And those cooler temperatures are definitely affecting to that flu season. We've seen temperatures in the 50s the past few days, but temperatures finally dropped down below average. The average for this time of year is 35 degrees. Note, we only reached a high of 30 degrees today, so below average again. And current temperatures within our viewing area, Richmond sitting at 25 degrees, Newcastle at 28, and Marion also sitting at 28 degrees. Wind chill makes it feel a lot colder in the lower 20s, and I'm going to break down the next upcoming few days about how cold it's just going to get, so I'll have that coming up in my full weather.
Thank you very much, Ballant. President Donald Trump is currently giving his first State of the Union address tonight on Capitol Hill. Aides say the president's speech will have a more optimistic tone than usual. Trump is expected to highlight the state of the economy during his first year in office while praising his infrastructure and immigration plans. The address comes after Trump received criticism for allegedly trying to fire FBI Director Robert Mueller in June. Let's take a live listen to the president's address.
Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and the distinct honor of presenting to you the President of the United States. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Vice President, members of Congress, the First Lady of the United States, and my fellow Americans. Less than 1 year has passed since I first stood at this podium in this majestic chamber to speak on behalf of the American people and to address their concerns, their hopes, and their dreams. That night, our new administration had already taken very swift action. A new tide of optimism was already sweeping across our land. Each day since, we have gone forward with a clear vision and a righteous mission to make America great again.
That is President Trump live from our nation's capital. NewsLink Indiana will have a full recap of President Trump's address tomorrow at noon. Next on NewsLink Indiana, a Ball State professor has other plans than just teaching. We'll tell you what that is coming up.
And BSU President Jeff Mearns sat down with NewsLink Indiana. Coming up, we'll tell you what he had to say near the 1-year anniversary of him being named.
Oh! Checking your fantasy league? Nah, just my 401k statement. Nice. Where'd you find the money for that? I've just been saving a little every month. I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
So I've come up with a family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Welcome back. A Ball State professor is campaigning for Indiana's Secretary of State. The former director of Ball State's Peace and Conflict Studies, George Wolf, will be running as a Green Party candidate. Wolf intends to focus on social issues affecting voters, such as increasing voter participation and establishing Election Day as a national holiday. In the meantime, Wolf's campaign is focused on getting enough signatures to place him on the ballots for this year's November election.
Well, Jeffrey Mearns was named Ball State president around this time 1 year ago. NewsLink Indiana's Matt Leah Stewart sat down with President Mearns, who discussed plans for 2018.
Appointed in May and officially started in August, President Jeffrey Mearns hasn't been here for long. He spoke a great deal of events, goals, and plans for the future of Ball State. He even gave an in-depth look of the creation and meaning of We Fly that was unveiled in November.
Of We Fly was something that was simple, it's clear, it's distinctive, it's bold, and it speaks to the aspirations that we have for our students, and it speaks to the aspirations that we have for the whole university. So
Mearns revealed that We Fly brand was already in the works before he was appointed. Mearns' job was to make sure that We Fly slogan was out of the research phase and put into action. Mearns also says to keep a lookout for the big centennial celebration here at Ball State. Mearns says 100 years is a big milestone.
we celebrate our centennial, and we're going to start to roll out some centennial celebrations later in this calendar year. We'll really be very active beginning in August and September.
While Mearns prepares for these big events, he says his lasting legacy is to see Ball State grow.
The extraordinary potential that the university has, I want to make sure that I do the right things to engage the community in the strategic planning process so that we tap that extraordinary potential.
In Muncie, Matt-Leah Stewart, NewsLink, Indiana.
And coming up, your full weather forecast.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Welcome back to NewsLink Indiana. With Groundhog Day fastly approaching, let's hope he gives us some good news.
I hope so. I hope he doesn't see a shadow. I want spring.
Absolutely. Ballant, what can you tell us that we have for us in our future?
Well, temperatures really have started to fall within the past several days. And already today we reached highs in the upper 20s. A few of these are still refreshing. Here in Muncie, we did reach a high of 30 degrees, excuse me. This is showing 28, but all around teasing the 30-degree mark when we factor in wind chills throughout the day. 29 the feels like, or current temperature, excuse me, but wind chills making it feel a lot colder. So 20 degrees it feels like in Shelbyville and 21 in Indianapolis. And currently in Muncie, we're sitting at 29 degrees with winds south at 8 miles per hour. And for the remainder of the evening hours, by midnight, we're going to drop down to 29 degrees. Temperatures are going to stay consistent. We'll see clouds work their way in. And overnight, winds are going to start to ramp up heading on into tomorrow. By the morning hours, south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Overnight low of 23 degrees. Now tomorrow we are going to jump well back above average, 44 for the high, but take a look at these winds, 20 to 25 miles per hour. So that southerly wind is going to allow for warmer temperatures. However, don't get too excited because with that, by 4 p.m., the feels like temperatures are only going to be 32 degrees. So this is the time when we're usually seeing our highest temperatures throughout the day, but those wind chills are going to make it feel much, much colder. And for the next 5 days, temperatures are going to progressively work their way on down. It's because our next system is going to work its way through. So let's go ahead and play this out. 7 p.m. by Friday, you can see clear conditions to the south, but here's this line that's going to work its way through. This is going to be a next cold front that's going to push through. And then as the evening hours progress, heading on through Thursday morning, some isolated showers and possibly some snow flurries are going to be possible. But then our main line starts to work its way in starting Thursday at 9 a.m. And those showers are going to continue through, but clearing conditions behind that. And then for the 7-day forecast, working our way back down by Groundhog's Day on Friday. Cool temperatures for that. Sunny skies though, but 22 degrees, and then our next chance for a bigger snow event comes in next weekend on Saturday and Sunday overnight, and then temperatures are going to fall back down into the lower 20s.
Thank you very much, Ballin. Andrew, what can we expect in sports?
All right, well, coming up in sports tonight, Ball State's men's basketball took on Toledo, and we've got the highlights. Also, we have an exclusive sit-down with soon-to-be-retired athletic director Mark Sandy right after the break.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but things changed. Teaching didn't seem that cool anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Amazing things are happening in teaching, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Welcome back to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Andrew Sanders with sports. Ball State Athletic Director Mark Sandy announced his retirement after 2.5 years. Josh Shelton caught up with Sandy for something you'll only see on NewsLink.
Some surprising news came in a Ball State Athletics press release yesterday announcing Director of Athletics Mark Sandy's retirement at the end of June. In his 2.5 years at Ball State, Sandy has quite a few memories to take with him, although it was hard for him to pick a favorite.
Certainly this past year we beat Notre Dame up there in basketball. That was a big one. When the women's softball went to the NCAAs at Notre Dame and we won up there the first round game. That was fun. And then I really think just some of the fun times when you're around the student athletes, at maybe not even at the contest, but when you're around them and you see them as freshmen and you see them grow up.
Sandy has made a lasting impact on the athletic department as a whole, but for women's basketball head coach Brady Salley, the friendship they have will last through retirement.
I know this, his friendship that he and I have, that doesn't go away just because he's retiring, and that's the most important thing to me. And he's done great for us and done great for this department. We hate to see him leave, but we're awful excited for him for this next step in his life and for his wife too.
And being with his family is exactly what Sandy is looking forward to.
I'll be closer to my family and I'll get to see my grandchildren every day if I want, but certainly every week. I look forward to maybe playing some golf, and I'll be closer to some friends that have retired or getting ready to retire.
When asked whether he will be following Ball State sports after retirement,
isn't ESPN3 a great thing? I'll be on there watching every game that's on ESPN3 and any chance I get, and follow the Cardinals for the rest of my life.
Mark Sandy, a Cardinal for life. In Muncie, Josh Shelton, NewsLink, Indiana.
Sandy will be moving to Virginia at the end of June to be closer to his family. In Ball State basketball action, the Cardinals travel to Ohio today to take on red-hot Toledo. The Rockets and the Cardinals are 1 and 2 in the MAC West respectively, but Toledo comes into this one riding a 7-game winning streak. The Cardinals took an early lead in the first half. Here we see Taylor Persons drive, miss, but Tajay Teague follows up with the monster jam. Later on in the half, Persons brings the ball up the court here. Tajay Teague with the screen, and he'll roll off, get the ball, jab, and throw up a three that hits nothing but net. Even later in the half, Persons tries to get it to Sean Sellers outside, but is stolen by Nate Navigato, who streaks down the court, gets it to Trayshawn Fletcher, who sidesteps around Persons and lays it in. Ball State would go on to win this one, however, 75-63. And a quick note for Ball State football as well. Defensive end Anthony Winbush has been invited to the NFL Combine this year after an impressive senior season that saw him lead the nation in forced fumbles. Best of luck to Winbush in the draft process.
Great to see Ball State students heading to the NFL Combine.
For sure, for sure.
Very
We're looking forward to seeing what he can do with that.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Coming up next, find out what Apple information was released today regarding new iPhones. Up next in Trending.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to the shelterpetproject.org and meet if you are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to the shelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self, and I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back to NewsLink Indiana, and now we have Katie here with Trending. Katie, what can you tell us?
Yes, so for those of you who can't leave home without your phone charger, Apple may have some good news for you. Apple leaker Ming-Chi Kuo has reported that Apple will be releasing not one, not two, but 3 new iPhone models this fall. The designs will be spin-offs of the iPhone X, sticking with the overall design of screen notches and no home buttons. However, the main difference will be the sizes of the phones, which will lead to different battery capacities. The largest phone will have a 6.5-inch screen, which will open up the battery life to be quite different from the iPhones that we currently have in our pockets. So, yes, isn't that exciting, you know, bigger phone life, you know, we can have it quicker throughout the day. So.
Very exciting. Thank you so much, Katie. And Ballant, can we have one more look at weather?
Yeah, temperatures are going to start to drop back down all the way up through Friday. Friday, Groundhog's Day. Take a look at that, a high of only 22 degrees. So I'm forecasting 6 more weeks of winter. And then our next chance for snow showers returns Saturday, carrying on into Sunday. And then temperatures are going to continuously be in the upper 20s and lower 30s.
Thank you very much, Ballant. That's all we have for you tonight at NewsLink Indiana. Be sure to watch tomorrow night or tomorrow at noon online at ballstatedaily.com or on Facebook Live.
And be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Have a great night.
You've been watching NewsLink Indiana in high definition.